Dear Judy Kennedy in Toronto. You will see her in a minute. When we return to Israel this time, after our European concert tour, which starts at the last of this month, we want to have another anniversary celebration right after the high holidays in September in our back garden in Jerusalem, which will be all decorated with lights to the accompaniment of our splashing fountain. Not to mention incredible Israeli food and great friends there that span the Jewish, Christian, and secular communities, from the lowliest to the greatest, even representatives from the Israeli Knesset who've become dear friends of ours. Here's my speech.
What?
Yes.
Merla never does anything by half.
No,
you know that?
I never can.
We wanted a small wedding. She'll try to explain why it never
Yes.
became one.
Well, I'm here today as a very blessed woman, or should I say a grateful old lady. I'm blessed in that our marriage has held together for 50 whole years, through thick and thin. Now, you all know that in this day and age, that's a shockaroo. We're not all lovey-dovey all the time, but our love is solid, based not on just affection, but covenant and commitment. And those are two words you seldom hear nowadays. I mean, who even gets married anymore? We belonged to an age when you didn't date till you were almost 18. You held hands as the only sign of affection, but that didn't happen till about the third date. The first kiss, a few dates later. And then there was no sleeping together till the honeymoon. If a girl got pregnant, she was hidden for 9 months. And there were very few abortions, at least we never heard of any. In this day and age, that isn't par for the course. And what we considered as inappropriate behavior is now considered normal and even expected. The sexes then were clearly defined, and I cannot even remember knowing more than 2 gay people. In fact, the word gay just meant happy.
It's a long time ago.
It's gone off again? Okay, I know how to shout, don't I? That was in the days that only jaded sailors wore tattoos. You never would see anybody with rings in any other place except their ears. And if you smoked, you went and did it behind a barn. And if you drank, it was certainly guarded. And as much as I enjoy life here and now, I cannot help but have a lingering nostalgia for the good old days when there were a few morals around. Yet I am blessed because I have a faithful husband. I've kept him too busy to even think about another woman.
I tried, but that's it.
And like I always say, if I had to do it all over again, I would still choose Merv Watson above any other guy. He's not only faithful, but he's trustworthy. Always there for me. Highly informed. He reads 4 books at a time. Tender-hearted, spontaneously, and screamingly funny, especially when he's angry.
Which is most of the time. Yeah.
Right from the very first, he treated me like a lady, always opening and closing the car doors and offering his arm if we crossed the street. Yeah, they did that then. Now and there's a little bit of a repetition here, but this is my story, okay? Going back a bit before I married Merv, we were both studying music at the University of Toronto. Merv was going through for his Bachelor of Music, nothing and anything else though, enabling him to teach high school bands, and I was accepted through scholarship only to study to be a concert artist, which led ultimately to receiving my artist diploma. And at that time, I was also doing a bit of fashion modeling on the side to help my finances. And I had my own variety show, entertaining for service clubs in the evenings when I wasn't already playing in orchestras or in the Pro Arte String Quartet for the CBC. Yes, I did notice Merv. I liked him a lot, but from a distance.
Yeah.
I knew he had had a Christian
10
upbringing.
miles away was intestine.
I knew he had had a Christian upbringing because his swearing was not convincing at all.
Some things you just can't get right, you know?
But I was always with another guy, and he with another gal. And if there was a formal dance, we'd always tap each other on the shoulder as we brushed by. It was at this time that Harry Belafonte performed a 2-week sellout show at the O'Keefe Centre in downtown Toronto, and I was scheduled to play viola in the orchestra. I was then playing professionally, steadily, in the pit orchestras for scads of off-Broadway shows, often the only girl in the all-guy orchestra, you can imagine. The most enjoyable show I played for was for Harry Belafonte. I was crazy about his style, beguiling voice, and his endearing songs. In fact, he singled me out publicly all the time at every show by calling, as Merv said, his favorite fiddlist from the stage. It was through this show that I saw the possibility of adding folk music to my repertoire. One day I needed to have a partner sing along with me on the then famous Mark Kenny's Ranch, a weekly variety television show. My other singing partner left me high and dry as he wanted more money for his part. So the producer asked me if I knew of somebody else who could take his place and fit in. I immediately thought of Merv because I knew he sang well, and we had talked to each other about the beauty of folk music, as it was then that the hootenannies, remember the hootenannies? They were a big fad. So I contacted him. He seemed more than willing to come alongside of me to sing, even if the money was not as much as the other guy demanded.
$125 is nothing to sneeze at.
Because after all, he was a poor student and needed any money he could get. And right from the start, our voices uncannily blended together. The producer was very pleased, and we just had a blast singing folk songs. And lo and behold, Merv started to date me, returning the folk song music I'd given him one by one at a time. And on the second date, wasn't the third, he asked me to marry him, and I said yes, like an idiot. And
Some things you just don't get right, you know?
And now here we are, 50 years later. Okay, you've got to know that Merv and I are very, very different from each other. We never argue loudly. That is, but we do constantly bicker. He has never struck me, not even once, nor would he ever dare.
Her mother has passed on now, though. I'm very brave.
He sees the big picture and I see the details. This is evidenced by the fact that when we are invited to report on any given concert tour we've been on, this is what happens. Merv gets up to speak, and I'm sitting there thinking while he's speaking, gee, I don't even remember that at all. We never went there, did we? I mean, was I on the same tour? How come he knows the names of all those people and the places where we've been, and he can't even remember his wallet, his glasses, his cell phone, or the shopping list? I have to make it out in triplicate. And it doesn't end there. Then it's my turn to share about that concert tour, and I can tell by his scowl as he sits in the front row in the audience, or by his moans behind me on the platform as I speak, that he doesn't agree with me on some points that I highlight. He can hardly wait to tell me in the car later, why on earth did you think that was so important that you shared? But somehow or other, the combination has worked. In our generation, you just didn't jump ship and marry somebody else if you had a disagreement. You fixed it. And that's where prayer comes in, and I will say it boldly. That works miracles time after time. And we've known miracles firsthand, not only with the healing of my hand that was totally fractured back in 1986, and you can read all about it in my book on the book table over there. Yes, I had a total instantaneous healing after 3 major surgeries, which left my Israeli brilliant hand surgeon totally stunned. But also we've experienced firsthand protective miracles as we journeyed by every conceivable means of transport safely to this day. Our guardian angels, doing double duty, have intervened many times for us. And yes, financial miracles have occurred by the dozens. We have known what it means to look into our refrigerator and see nothing much else but ice cubes. The Lord always shows me what to cook out of nothing. Very often those spontaneous recipes are exactly the ones that our house guests ask for.
You're eating a deep fried cube?
No.
It's delicious a second time.
Well,
Because your mouth is frozen shut, you know what I mean?
Well, I did cook radishes this year, and they were good. Okay, but we have never gone without. God always provides, and when we surrendered our lives to the creator of this universe, this kind of lifestyle is not what we aimed for or planned. That is, to rely only upon him for our provision. It was not an easy, casual step. God doesn't require everyone to do that, but he did for us. The world system could never and will never provide for what we do or even understand us, ever, because we don't fit and we're not the norm. Especially so when we have committed our lives to stand behind Israel and to cry out to the nations to defend this chosen people. Both the dispersed Jewish people in the nations and those gathered in their homeland, Israel. And we have done this consistently for 40 years through spoken word and song in nearly 50 nations. And we've also emphasized this to the Israelis among whom we live. We do this together. We do this together as husband and wife. And because of this stand that we've paid, and we're still paying a price because of Israel, we have lost friends who do not agree with us, or who have either deserted us completely, or who have coolly stood back at a distance from us in the shadows. Well, in the end, God's love will triumph. Love is the perfect key to any nation. We just try to do this as a married couple with the talents he has given us. That's all, no big deal. What is our secret? How come we've stayed together this long? Number one, we both knew that when we got married, there was a third personage involved, the Lord. This was not to be just a sterile signing of a marriage license, but a meaningful and binding prayer support from all our wedding guests. It was God who had glued us together, and to this day, man will not put us asunder no matter what. We have a responsibility to that vow, and it affects everybody around us as to how we respond to that vow. Only he can help us achieve that. I honestly don't know how couples stay together in these days without him, because he is our rock and our deliverer. Number two, a sense of humor, a God saver. Our home has been rocking with laughter for years and years. This is one of the things that our house guests at our B&B in Jerusalem always remark on. They've never laughed as much as in their whole lives as when they're with us. Here's an example. One evening we had a formal dinner party in Israel with about 20 guests. And among other things discussed, we were talking about the fact that Merv often has trouble finding his way driving in Tel Aviv. Now that's because there are a lot of one-way streets, or the lettering on the street signs is so miserably small and too low, or there is no sign at all, assuming that everybody knows the name of that particular intersection, that is, except us. So I declared to the whole dinner party that it was time that I give him for his next birthday one of those PMS things for his car. So he can always find his way. You cannot believe the laughter that faux pas ensued. And as if that weren't embarrassing enough, then I so-called corrected my obvious mistake by saying, "Oh, sorry, I mean GST." I still need to get him a GPS, both here and in Israel. Number 3, sharing our projects and our calling together. Some couples go golfing, some hike, and we do it with music that hopefully touches and transforms the hearts of thousands of people the whole world over. 4, tolerance, knowing and accepting that we are different. God created and designed it that way for us. And if we didn't recognize that fact, we never would have been attracted to one another in the first place. So as I draw this speech to a close, I just want to thank you as our friends for standing with us through the years. And especially those of you who have diligently and sacrificially prayed and fasted for us at a moment's notice when we encountered trouble of any kind. Thank you. Your prayers are what has carried us through at times we didn't think we were going to be able to make it. Also, we would be terribly remiss if we didn't express our heartfelt gratitude to you for your exemplary and consistent financial help as we represent you in the country we love the most, the land of Israel. And so many times you've assisted us in practical ways, both here and in Israel itself, doing things we didn't have the time, knowledge, energy, or finances to do ourselves. Thank you for holding up our arms and enabling us to carry on. And lastly, my darling husband Merv, I pay tribute to you in the presence of these dear people. I want you to know that even if sometimes I show frustration, I treasure you just the way you are. And I look forward to still many fruitful years ahead for us together until Messiah comes. We should have a guest.
Good. Good standing ovation for that one. No. Okay.
Praise the Lord.
Thank you. Yeah, not from the beginning. We're going to do some photo clips here.
Are they ready? The photo clips? Okay. We want to show you our oldest son. And he's bringing greetings, I hope. Okay. Do you need some time or are you okay? There's our son. Whoops. He's just been very busy this past week shoveling up a flood.
Shoveling out a flood?
Yeah, in Toronto. Yes.
Toronto.
Sound?
And Claire would have loved to have been there with you. Hopefully we can be there next time. And you can see that we're between. Hello, Mom and Dad. Just wanted to wish you a happy 50th wedding anniversary from Toronto. And Claire and I would have loved to have been there with you. Hopefully we can be there next time. And you can see that we're between storm systems right now. The weather actually is not bad. But we hope you have a fabulous time tonight with everybody on the West Coast. And over to Claire.
And I promise you that I will cook for you the next time you're here, and we'll do another celebration with both of you. Happy anniversary.
Sweet.
Happy anniversary.
Oh, wonderful.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Do you have that clip there of Sean singing, Matthew? It's a white. Next one. Ilana. It's a snip from her from Israel. She's managing our B&B there right now and doing a... Oh. That's out our backyard. And that's our patio. Oh. And she's going to be coming up the stairs, I think.
Hi, Mom and Dad. I wanted to say a few words for your 50th anniversary here in Jerusalem at your home. We call it the portal. So here I am saying happy anniversary to you, happy 50th anniversary to you. Merv and Merla Watson, you guys truly are one of a kind. Mom used to say that if she had to do it all over again, she'd marry the same man. And Dad used to say that the woman he married has sterling qualities, and the goodness in your hearts show in your music and in your lives and in your faces. And that's all that really counts. So I love you, and I hope you guys have a great time. I wish I could be there, but I'm having too much fun here. So Shalom from Yerushalayim Shel Zahav.
Wonderful. Okay, what's the next one? Yeah. Yes.
And my wife is wishing that she could be here with our son Yali, who's almost 4 in November. And one of the reasons she was unable to come right now is because we're expecting our second. So this is a surprise for them too. Looks like another boy's on the way. So, yeah.
Is there a picture of Yali?
There is. I'll put it.
Well, that's great news. That's news to us. We didn't know about that.
Merla, just dropping by to say happy anniversary on your very special 50th. We send our love and blessings to all your family and wish we were there. Big hugs from all of us in the east to the west. Much love.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Yes. We're very close to that family, and we were the godparents of her second son, who very unfortunately took his life. And it's what a heartbreaker. Anyway, things like that happen, but she has 4 other children that are just marvelous.
And 27 grandchildren.
27 grandchildren.
We'll never catch up.
Whoa. Okay, now there's the original footage of our wedding. Just a bit, not the whole thing. And I was amazed it was actually in color. I mean, I thought we were prehistoric.
You just invented color about that time.
Yeah. Isn't this amazing that you can do in modern technology? This just blows me right out of the water, what you can do. Okay. It was at Christmas time, and we had 20 attendants, as Merv knows and said. I can't ever do anything small.
Yeah.
And
I had to find 9 guys as groomsmen. I just got there from the West Coast. I thought you'd appreciate the fact I rescued her from the East. Bring her out west.
if you need more time, we can just do something else in the meantime. Okay. Right. Are you having a good time? Oh, yeah. Just, yes. Yes, that's right.
That's right, yes.
That's right,
Indeed.
You're right. Yes, when Susan from south of the border, my dear, very dear friend here, said that before Ariel was born, Corrie ten Boom, a Dutch Christian lady who saved tens of Jewish people in her home and has now got a tree in her name on the Avenue of the Righteous Gentiles in Israel. She was a very close friend of ours. And I remember her putting her hand on my tummy and saying, "This child is going to be special," and that was Ariel. Yeah, wonderful. Okay, it's the clip from that. It's, oh dear. My brother sent it, and it's mostly his family, except for this little part in it. Merv's family came from Irish-Scottish heritage, and mine was Swiss Mennonite.
I married a Swiss clock, and she married an Irish explosion. It was quite a combination. Right?
Yes. Okay. Okay, there I am. The weight.
I can hardly wait to the second date, you know. There we go. Beautiful.
Yeah. 1 matron of honor, 4 senior bridesmaids, 3 junior, a ring bearer, and
And a
flower
partridge
girl.
in a pear tree.
Yeah. There's Judy Young when she was young. There's my dad. Yes. And my uncle. Isn't that something that you can relive a moment like that? That's probably enough, I think, isn't it? Or, yeah, well, I don't know where. There's Merv's mother,
My mother.
and my mother. There's my dad. Yeah.
Here's a procession going through the door.
Yeah.
Several hours, just hold your breath here.
You know, the doggonest part of it is there are a couple of those gals. I don't even know where they are. I've searched for them. I have no idea. Anyway, it's really strange, these two, yeah. Their daddy was our MC. And there's my dad saying, do you still want to go through with this? I can sure remember. Yeah. There's my sister-in-law, Phyllis, and my...
He's coming.
They keep coming. Oh, dear. They're all in gold and white Lebanese. Okay, that's it.
That's me on the
it.
top, you know.
Okay, you want to do the song now?
Okay. Yeah.
Or sing along.
Okay. No, sing along.
Yeah.
Now,
It's the
you haven't-
sing-along now, isn't it?
Yeah, you haven't been doing that much, so we're going to get you to sing. And if you don't recognize any of the music, we're going to do it 1,000 times until you get it. No, actually, it's a lot of these old songs that you recognize. How's it in a program?
Yeah. Okay. All right. Go ahead. Marcus. Where's Marcus? Okay. All right, Marcus, we're going to do the sing-along for the concert. Did you bring your hat? Yours is down behind there. That's... Marcus didn't bring his hat, but... Okay. Well, I got it. Wait a second. Okay. Yeah, sure, of course.
Yeah, please.
Okay. Now,
No, don't muck it up here.
there we got it. Okay. Go ahead.
There we go.
All singing now. Is it on? Oh, come on, we gotta get it. No, hold on.
So hang
It's
on.
gotta be. It's the sing along. That's it.
Heart of my heart, I love that melody. Heart of my heart brings back a memory when we were kids on the corner of the street. We were rough and ready guys, but oh how we could harmonize. Heart of my heart, men friends were dearer than
Test your memory.
too bad we had to part. I know what you would listen if once more I could listen to the gang that sang Heart of My Heart. Heart of my heart. Shine on, harvest moon. Everything's January, June, and July. So time, ain't no time to this day. Of course it's moon, so shine on, harvest moon. For me, my gal, the bells are ringing. For me, my gal, those birds are singing. For me and my gal, everybody's been knowing to when they're going, and waiting and sowing. Every Susie and Sam, they're congregating for me and my gal. That parson's waiting for me and my gal. And sometimes I'm gonna be a little home for 2 or 3 or 4 in love land for me and my gal. By the light of the silvery moon, I walk this through to my hideout room. Keep me shining in June. Your silvery beam will bring love's dream. We'll be cuddling soon by the silvery moon. Peg of my heart, I love you. Don't let us part. I love you, I always knew it would be you. Since I heard you lifting up, it's your heart, the heart of every peg of my heart. Your glances make my heart sing. How's chances? Come be my own. Come be my home in your heart. See you walking down the street. Yes, I asked you very confidentially, ain't she sweet? Ain't she nice? Look her over once or twice. Yes, I asked you very confidentially, ain't she nice? Just ask her in her direction. Oh me, oh my, ain't that perfection? Oh, I repeat, well, that's kind of neat. Yes, I asked you very confidentially, ain't she sweet? 5'2", eyes are blue, but oh, what those white feet could do. Has anybody seen my gal? Turned up nose, turned down hose, never had no other pose. Has anybody seen my gal? Now if you run into a 5'2", covered with furs, diamond rings and all those things, you bet your life it isn't hers. But could she love? Could she woo? Could she? Has anybody seen my gal? Oh, you ain't got a barrel of money, maybe ragged and funny, but we travel along, singing a song, side by side. Don't know what's coming tomorrow, maybe trouble and sorrow, but we'll take the road, share it along, side by side. Through all kinds of weather, what if the sky should fall? As long as we're together, it doesn't really matter. We'll be the same as we started, just sing along, sing a song, side by side. Just sing along, sing a song, side by side.
Oh, that's so much.
I know my wife really worships me. She puts burnt offerings in front of me every day. She calls it Cajun. As Jackie Mason says, point fish. Each year, on a wedding anniversary, Patrick would go down to the city hall in the hope that his marriage license has expired. John, have you ever been to one of those machines that can tell you when someone is telling a lie? Dave, seen one. I married one. Husband, let's go out on the town tonight and have some fun. Wife, yeah, but if you get home before me, remember to leave the front door open. An insurance salesman was trying to persuade Sonia to buy a life insurance policy. Just imagine, if your husband was to die tomorrow, Sonia said, what would you get? Oh, a Labrador dog, I think. They're so well behaved. There's a small country church, and all of a sudden, Satan came through the window. Pah! It scared everybody, and everybody ran out. Except for this elderly man. Satan came up and said, do you know who I am? He said, yeah, I know who you are. How come you're not afraid? I married your sister 48 years ago. I gotta tell you, A.B. was going to a special wedding service in New York. He's flying from Los Angeles. And he was sitting there and he noticed that the plane was rough, up and down, up and down. Not only that, he'd had a very bad non-kosher breakfast. So I should never have come by plane. I should have gone by car, by train or something. But this is to my stomach. Ay, ay, ay. Next to him is a big Texan sound asleep. Suddenly the plane falls 1,000 feet. Boom. Maybe he dumps his whole breakfast on the guy's shirt. So, what do I say to this man? Like, oh, the guy pushes his hat back. He looks at his shirt. Maybe he leans over and he says, are you feeling better now? Finally, you want your wife to listen and to pay undivided attention to every word you say. All you need to do is to talk in your sleep. Nikki, I'm a man of few words. Mike, I'm married too. A wedding ring may not be as tight as a tourniquet, but it does an equally good job of stopping circulation. If your wife wants to learn how to drive, don't stand in her way. And finally, my opinions are my wife's, and she says I'm lucky to have them.
And talking about the sleep thing, Merv snores, okay?
What?
Yeah. So I have to wear,
Find that hard to
earplugs.
believe.
But this one night I didn't wear the earplugs and he was letting her rip. And he was flat on his back, like this. And I couldn't stand it. I said, dear, would you please move over to your side? He says, this is one of my sides. So
I was not asleep.
I think we have that second presentation now that Marilyn did. You got that? There? Okay.
This is a complete run-through of 50 years of absolute, no. This is a complete run-through. And when I saw it, I said, I sure would like to have been there. Life has gone by so quickly that I've missed all the 7 phases. There are 7 phases to life.
You did a
Beautiful job. That was a big deal.
Now we come to the cake cutting time. Hoy. Okay, so, all right. Can we, well, how do we do this? We just go over and
I think you just go over and cut the cake.
yeah. So.
How we danced all night. We vowed to love the world. Was you said our world wasn't blue. There were stars in the sky, except for the few that were there in your eyes. Dear as I had been open my eyes, angels were singing a hymn to your charms. Two hearts were beating and murmuring low. My darling, I love you so. The night seemed to fade into blossoming dawn. The sun shone on you like the dance lingered on. Could recall that sweet moment of life. Is not on in my time. Near as I held you close in my arms, angels were singing as love to your charms. Your hearts were beating and murmuring love. My darling, I love you so. Oh, how we danced on the night we were when we vowed to love. Oh, when was the same?
Get up and dance if you want to.
The world wasn't blue. There were stars in the skies, except for the few that were there in your eyes. As I held you close in my arms, angels were singing a hymn to your charms. Two hearts were beating and murmuring low. My darling, I love you so. The night seemed to fade into blossoming dawn. The sun shone on you, but the dance lingered on. Could recall that some moments of life we cried out our love is not home but time. Near as I held you close in my arms, angels were singing a hymn to your charms. Your hearts are beating and murmuring low. My darling, I love you so.
Please be seated now because it's a really funny song that I composed especially for this event tonight. So could you please sit down, everybody? Everybody, please sit down, please, everybody sit down. That sounds like the emails I sent out telling everybody the same thing in many different ways. There's still people that wonder what day it's going to be. I don't understand. Anyway.
Those that have left, please sit down.
Okay.
This is a special song dedicated to almost anybody. Now, there's a, what are you doing here? This is a song that's called There's a Lot of Soap Under the Old Wedding Ring. And Merv wrote this crazy thing, and I have to sing it.
But you're going to have to hear the words, so would you please sit down, everybody? Please. Please sit down.
I think they heard
We
me.
need total silence or you're going to miss
There we go.
the words.
Yeah, we got a carbon
Okay.
stove. That's great.
Okay.
Here we go.
There's a lot of soap under the old wedding ring.
There's a lot of tears
but
we've chosen to sing.
And although this stormy weather,
15 years we're still together.
this is serious.
It isn't
no cheap
fun.
Now you sing. Marriage style, sadly now experiment.
After just a few quick years to connect.
I don't like his snores and wheezes,
She disturbs my thoughts and thesis.
but with us we fix not rigid, we're content. La 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 we have pledged to stick together. Though many a time I like to kick him in the shin.
If this engine is still working,
We don't try to find what's lurking,
and our love it lasts, it's never has been. La 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 la.
There are many things still we're taking on out there.
Well, collapsing, rocking in a chair.
Some expect us to retire.
Going singing old folks choir.
Not the plan
For
for
us
us
to just sit down and stare. La 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 la.
Oh, the old gray hairs are not what they used to be.
When we pray, raise the way to bend the knee.
We forget the names of people,
Our attempts are rather feeble,
but
we carry on in spite of merrily. La 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 la.
we don't have a lot of money.
Or to spare. We don't have a lot of things we can declare.
But we have 3 kids we're proud.
And for that, you can't make fun of.
And the story
of our lives we'd love to share.
Many a laugh we share and that
Hysterically, it has helped us keep our balance wonderfully. After years, just as nagging,
his physique is not just sagging.
we'd rather fight than switch. Oh yes, say we. I love, This is our favorite. Colonel? Major? Sergeant? Major? Oh, right.
Yeah.
Major.
Tell them what you do here. Now, tell them what you do. This is for Israel.
Well, we're Merla.
Michael, you have.
Need it?
Yes.
Well, it's an honor for me to be here today. This evening, I found out about this at 3 weeks' notice. 3 minutes. It's an honor to be here, and honored guests, family, and friends of Merv and Merla. Here it is, 50th wedding anniversary. I was researching the internet looking for what would be appropriate to speak on. One line caught my attention, and that was that marriage is like education. The bride gets her master's, and the groom loses his bachelor's. I first met Merv and Merla back in the 1900s. The Korean War was over and Vietnam was almost starting. I was a young lad, and they were passing through the Okanagan. They stayed at my parents' home, and friends of my parents, Henry and Julie Buchanar. And 40 years passed before we saw each other again. A lot of things happened in 40 years. First of all, with Merv and Merla, it was 40 years of worldwide focus on Israel. It was 20 years living in Jerusalem. It was ministering in over 50 countries. It was conceiving and spearheading the International Christian Embassy in Jerusalem. And in the mid-90s when we met, I was involved with the Royal United Services Institute of Vancouver, which is a military police think tank. And Merv, Merla, and Marcus were kind enough to come out and play at one of our social events. And from that point, we maintained contact. Until I received a communication from Tel Aviv, from a gentleman by the name of Norman Feingold a year and a half ago. And he says, Merv and Merla think you should get involved with Christian Friends of Canadian Hagen David Dom for Israel. And that was a year and a half ago. I've been honored to be involved in that position ever since. But Merv and Merla are no strangers to the organization because they are honorary governors for Christian Friends in Israel. This afternoon I received a communication from Roy Grinchpan, who is the president of the Vancouver chapter of Canadian Megan David Dom, and it has been approved. The following inscription will be placed on a door of an MDA ambulance in Israel. And I wish to share with you for the first time this inscription is being made public, and I quote, "Presented to the people of Israel in honor of Canadians Merv and Merla Watson and the International Christian Embassy in Jerusalem, the organization they co-founded and whose supporters have strengthened Israel. From your friends in the Fraser Valley of British Columbia, Canada." Wow. I'm quite familiar with military toasts, and to make a toast this evening, for me, I thought it would be a toast and a prayer, because God's hand has been in your lives. You have been a direct influence on many people in many countries. So my toast and my prayer for you is that the Lord continue to bless you, and that you find good health, prosperity, and happiness as you continue on this life's journey. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would charge your glasses, and please rise and join me in a toast to the bride and groom, Merv and Merla.
Lorna has the rest of you have it on the table.
Over there. That's it over there. Daddy.
one of the ladies serving the grape juice up here is our beloved Leslie Stoffel, and she lives with us for most of the year in Israel. And not only does she help Merv with his income tax, with receipts and stuff, but she is an incredible voice for Israel. She has thousands of friends, and she hobnobs with the Knesset members all the time, and they just love her. And she does a lot of promoting Israel on Facebook. So this is Leslie.
Ladies and gentlemen, Merv and Merla.
We're going to finish now with this hymn, Praise to the Lord, the Almighty. And this is a song that is being sung by 2,500 young people in St. Paul's, St. Paul's Cathedral in Toronto, where they met every week for 4 years, 2,500 to 3,000 strong. We led them in the singing, and this will be encouragement to you. This is available on the CD, and it's a powerhouse. So join with us as we can see. I guess you can see the words there. Most of you know them anyway.
Turn the volume up, man.
Yeah, there we go. This builds like praise to the Lord, the Almighty, the King of creation. Oh, my soul, praise Him, for He is thy help and salvation. All ye who live, brothers and sisters, draw near. Praise Him in glad adoration. Praise to the Lord who watches so wonderfully reign. Shelter under His wings, yea, so gently sustained. Christ from sin, power and great is thy name. Granted what He ordained. Praise to the Lord who doth prosper thy work and defend thee. Surely His goodness and mercy will daily attend thee. What the Almighty can do, if with His love He defend thee. Praise to the Lord, who when tempest air or heaven are raging, who when the elements standing around Him are raging, with earth sings, hurling victory to peace. Whirlwinds and waters are swaying. Praise to the Lord when the darkness of sin is around me. Who when the comes to triumph, all virtue confounding. Share His light, taste of the horrors of life. Closing now with the morning benediction. Let's stand. Yivarech Adonai ve'yishmarecha Ya'er Adonai panacha ve'chanucha Yisa Adonai Yasem L'cha Shalom. The Lord bless thee and keep thee. The Lord make his face shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. The Lord lift up his countenance upon thee and give thee together Shalom. Amen. Lovely evening. Thank you for coming. We have to get out of here 10 minutes.